Om. सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपराम् वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानंदं कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुम्. And then we'll say that there is a 12th shloka of 12th chapter which we saw last time, which is summary of the entire teaching, Bhagavad Gita and other teaching also. So it's a 12th shloka of 12th chapter. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyaga tyaga shanti anantaram. And in that Bhagavan has given the entire stages of sadhana. So he says it starts with abhyas, practice, and the end goal is Shanti Anantaram, means the uninterrupted Shanti or permanent Shanti. Our Shanti is, many times we get it, but it comes and goes. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. But it starts with Abhyas, and that's what all this thing, what we do is Abhyas, practice, practice. And now we'll just say the prayer which Arjun said, which is our prayer too. And the Bhagavad Gita is answer to that prayer. So Bhagavan also has given Bhagavad Gita to us. So that's our prayer, right? This is the seventh shloka of second chapter. Karpanya dosho upahat svabhavah prachami tvam dharma sammudha chetah yat sheyasyat nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. So Arjuna is saying to Bhagavan that Bhagavan, I'm deluded, I am confused, I am not able to make the right choice. I don't know what is right for me. So I come to you as your Shishya. And we saw, and we'll recap Bhakti Yoga. One of the, Bhagavan says, the stages of Bhakti is Samarpan. Samarpan means that humility in front of anyone. Like in this case, it is, he's looking Bhagavan for the Adhyatmic Gyan, but for anything we need to learn, there should be humility. That should be Samarpan Bhav, which is, so he's saying, I'm coming to you as Shishya, please guide me and tell me what is Shreyas for me. And the entire Bhagavad Gita is answer to that one prayer. So with that, we'll just very quickly recap what we did last time. So last time we covered Bhakti Yoga, which is 12th chapter. And so very quickly to sum up that, in the beginning of the chapter, Bhagavan has given the kind of four, we don't call it stages, but yeah, we can say in the four ways or four stages of bhakti. So first is, as I talked, Samarpan. The first thing is committed. Samarpan means committed also. If I want to do something, I have to be committed. So that is Samarpan. So Samarpan to Bhagavan, that is one stage of bhakti. Second, Bhagavan says Abhyas, the practice, which is Swadhyaya, which we are doing constantly. But it cannot be just one time. It's ongoing. That's why we have our tradition of Sandhya Vandanam 3-4 times, Pratana, Puja, Upasana, multiple times during the day. So that's Bhagavan says Abhyas. The next one is Nishkam Karma. Bhagavan says if you find that even Abhyas is difficult for you, karma everybody is doing. Anyway, you have to do karma. So why don't you then surrender your karma to me? I mean, just work for me. It's like that. So that is Nishkam Karma. I'm not working for myself, just working for Bhagavan. So Nishkam Karma. And the third, last thing, fourth thing, Bhagavan says, okay, if you that is also difficult, that you cannot imagine that I am working for you. Every karma has a result. Okay, then offer result to me. Just whatever comes, favorable, unfavorable, just give it to me. And that's karma phal tyag. And that's the shlok says, karma phal tyaga shanti anantaram. When we are able to do the karma phal tyag, Bhagavan says, shanti anantaram, uninterrupted peace. You will get it. So that was 4 stages bhakti. Then we saw Bhagavan told bhakt, attributes of bhakt, bhakta lakshan. So one of that was 15th shlok. यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्ष भयोद्वेगैः यः यः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः. The one who doesn't get agitated by anyone, because of, like we see, we go to store and sometimes we see those little toddler or kids are sitting in the trolley. They're always happy. They hey hi, hi everybody. They'll say hi. They're happy. There is no complaint about anything, and they don't. Nobody's presence agitate them, but their presence don't agitate anyone. Like kids, they're always, their presence is always pleasing. So Bhagavan is saying, my bhakt is, his presence doesn't agitate anyone. Udvicate lokano udvicate, and nobody agitates him. He is always happy, he or she. So Bhagavan says, that is my bhakt. And then all multiple qualities. So we saw that. Then essence was, Bhagavan says, karma yoga, where when you feel that Bhagavan is the karma phal data. Karma phal data means he is not giving from on his side. He is thus the facilitator. So that is karma yoga, and that is called prasad buddhi. That means I accept whatever comes from Bhagavan, whatever result comes. And that prasad buddhi is bhakti. And in the Gyan Yoga, Bhagavan says, Gyan Yoga means our goal is that there is no difference between me and Bhagavan. The gap between me and Bhagavan is reduced, or it's just, there is no gap. It's just one. We are one. And that is called Yukta Buddhi. Yukta means, that's what the yoga word has come. I'm constantly engaged in Bhagavan. That's what a lot of examples of Bhakta, right? They are always thinking of Bhagavan. So that is called Yukta Buddhi. And that, when we have that Buddhi, that is Bhakti. So Prasada Buddhi, which is accepting Bhagavan's Prasad, everything, and engaging with Bhagavan all the time. That is Gyan Yoga, we call it, or Karma Yoga, the Prasad Buddhi. And both are actually, when that type of Buddhi is called Bhakti. When we saw by definition, Bhakti means sharing, Bhakti means serving, Bhakti means relishing. That's why bhajan word has come. Seva, Bhakti is seva, Bhakti bhav means seva. So that is Bhakti, and that's what the 12th chapter was there. So basically the Bhagwan and Bhakta become one, and Bhakti is always happy because we have realized that Bhagwan, or we call it Brahma Gyan or Atma Gyan in technical terms. So with that, now 12 chapters over. Now we'll do 13th and 15th chapter today in 1 hour, 45 minutes. So 13th chapter is called Kshetragya Vibhag Yoga. If you have the book, you can open that. So it is called Kshetragya Vibhag Yoga. So we'll start with 13th chapter. Ata Trayodasho Adhyayah Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So Bhagavan starts with Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram iti abhidhiyate etado vetitam prahu kshetragya iti tadviddah. Some books, there is a one shlok where Arjuna asks Bhagavan what is Kshetragya. And some books, it starts with Bhagavan's answers. It doesn't matter, one shlok. I think the Acharyas have introduced, Bhagavan started continuously after 12th chapter, he continuously start the 3rd chapter. So they introduce some Acharyas that Arjuna has asked question. But it's irrelevant, that question Arjuna asked or not. Bhagavan's answer is more important. So this chapter, Kshetragya, is nothing but whatever already talked in the 2nd chapter, where we saw that 2nd chapter, the beginning shlok number 11 to 30, that is called Deha Dehi Vivek also. Vivek means discrimination, Deha means the body, Dehi means Atma. So the entire 11 to 30 shlok where Bhagavan is describing what is Atma. So distinguishing between, and those shlok we read when somebody dies at home also, because the purpose of reading that, a body dies, Atma doesn't die, and nobody has control over body. Body can die. Everybody has their own expiration date. It is not somebody is. We think, oh, somebody is responsible. Nobody is responsible. That's the course. There's a way of life. So that chapter Bhagavan talks about that you are not Deh, you're Dehi. So that particular part we can say Deha Dehi Vivek. Vivek means the discrimination. So Dehi means body and Dehi means the Jivatma, we call it, which is inside the body. So this chapter 13 is nothing but the extension of those 19 or 18 slok. But it is like that, this is a little advanced, like a school, when we have elementary math and then advanced math. Math is math, but they take it to the advanced level. Same thing, this chapter is nothing but the extension of those which is already taught in second chapter or talked. So it is like sometimes the cars also, we have advanced version of same car, like Honda has Civic and Accord and Acura, or Toyota has like Camry and Corolla and then Lexus. So it's like advanced model, more features, bigger car. So same thing, the 13th chapter is advanced part of. Same thing, Bhagwan has given little more detail. It's very, very interesting. And so here Bhagwan is saying this shlok, first shlok, maybe Bhagwan has realized that Arjun's level is also increased. And I'm sure when if we are studying Bhagavad Gita up to by coming to 13th chapter, our level is little higher. So that's what it is. But it is very straightforward. I mean, you have to read it, but it's not very complex. But the same thing is little different way Bhagwan. So Bhagwan is saying, "Hey, Arjun, this body is called Kshetra. Kshetra means in Sanskrit mein field. We can say English में field, Sanskrit में क्षेत्र, क्षेत्र में क्षीयते इति क्षेत्र. Kshiyate means which decompose or which diminishes. Like body always diminishes, imperishable. Body always it's perishable. So one which is reducing or which reducing towards the end, that is called perish, like kshiyate. So kshiyate iti kshetra. And body, we all know that body gets old, dies, body gets deformed, or disability, all those things happen to body. So that is called kshetra. And Bhagavan says, the one who knows the kshetra is kshetragya. So the gya, like the suffix added to kshetra means, gya means always gyan, the knowing. So the one who knows kshetra is kshetragya. And that is, we call it consciousness or awareness. So I am conscious of my body. So I am not body. See, when I say, oh, my body is getting old, my body is getting old, that I am not getting old. And I say, oh, my car is broken. Yeah, so my car is broken. I am not broken. So the one who is saying this, the one who is aware of that thing happening is Kshetragya. And we call it awareness. We call it consciousness also. A lot of Buddhist teaching is all about awareness. They say that, right? So that's why Bhagavan is saying that you are not this body. Same thing like here. You know the body. So Bhagavan says, the one Kshetragya who knows of the body, the distinction like between body. And Bhagavan says, Tatvida. People call him Jnani. So a lot of time we hear this word Jnani means someone who knows Sanskrit or Ved. No, it's not like that. Not like that. Kabir Das ji was illiterate. He didn't go to school and all those things. But he knows the difference between body and kshetra and kshetragya. So that's what Bhagavan is saying here, that you're not this body, you are the knower of the body, the awareness, consciousness principle you are, not the body mind principle. So that's what first shlok. So it starts from there, and then we go a little deeper into that. Few shlok we'll read, right? The first shlok is said, then second shlok Bhagavan continues with that. And he said, Kshetragyam chapima vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetragyor jnanam yad jnanam matam mama. So Bhagavan is saying now, he's little bit more extension he's giving. He says, the kshetragya which I am telling you, the consciousness, that consciousness is nothing but my projection. So whatever, that's why we say we are Atma and Paramatma, but we are nothing but the borrowed the consciousness from Paramatma. And the example we'll see further down. Like moon is shining, but it is not moon's shine. It is the sun's reflection on moon, and moon is shining. So same thing. We are that Jivatma in us. We call it Jivatma. It is because of the Paramatma. So we are not separate from Paramatma, but we are that borrowed, we can say, reflected consciousness. And Bhagavan is saying, the one who knows this, that you are Kshetragya, but you are Paramatma's reflection. You are not independent of, right? And that person, Bhagavan says, the one who knows Tattva se. Gita has used a lot of time the Tattva se, means knowing the essence. And it is the example is the sweetness. We have multiple sweets like Rasgulla, Gulab Jamun, Kaju Katri, and all those things. But if I whatever I eat, I Gulab Jamun I eat, ultimately the taste bud knows only the sweetness. It doesn't care. Taste bud doesn't care Gulab Jamun or Barfi or Rasgulla. It is that we feel that, oh, I am eating Rasgulla or Gulab Jamun. Ultimately, it is the sweetness. That's it. Taste buds are getting the sweetness, and that is called Tattva. So Bhagavan is saying that if you know that the essence is me, that Paramatma, and that is, Bhagavan said, that person is Kshetragya. So again, he's reminding us that we should not think ourselves as independent entity. The body and bodily we are independent. That's what there is. We say in our Shastra there is that we are different but not separate. We are different. Yeah, somebody is old, young, and maybe Caucasian, or we have divided further world into the countries and races, but we have made it because we look different, but we are not separate. And that's what Bhagavan said, the one who knows this, that is the Jnani. So we will, all this Bhagavan is continuing, so we'll read to go to the fifth shlok, where Bhagavan is exactly describing what is Kshetra. Kshetra means field. So now next 5 and 6 shlok, there are, Bhagavan is giving the physiology and the psychology of human being. A very, very wonderful stroke, 5th and 6th of 13th chapter. Physiology and psychology. So 5th shlok says, Bhagavan says, Mahabhutan ahankaro buddhir buddhi avyaktam eva cha indriyani dashayakam cha panchachen indriya gocharaha. So you can read detail later on, but what Bhagavan is saying, and this is a principle of Sankhya. You might have heard that word. Sankhya is one of Hindu darshan. People call it philosophy, but darshan is a better word. So out of 6 or sometime 8 Hindu darshans are there, Bharati darshan or Hindu darshan. One of them is Sankhya. So Sankhya says this body is made of 20 elements, 24 elements. 24 तत्व ऐसा हिंदी में आता है. So 24 elements we body is made of. Kshetra, Bhagavan is saying. And this is a physiology. Look at that, right? So first is Mahabhutani. There are 5, we know 5 elements. Earth, water, fire, wind, and space. Like Panchbhamut, Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash. So Bhagavan says, and then Ahankar, that I-ness. We all have that I-ness, not that individual ego. That I-ness means there is an existing. And then there is a Buddhi, intellect. Then Avyaktam Prakriti, which is unmanifest Prakriti, matter. We are all created from this, right? There's unmanifest matter, and we call it Maya also, Bhagavan. Out of that, this whole world is created. And then Bhagavan says, we have 5 senses. 5 Jnanendriya means sense of perception, which is, we say nose, tongue, eyes, skin, ear, 5 sense perception. And 5 Karmendriyas, sense of action, hand, like Jivha, and the stomach, like organs of procreation. There are 5 of them, so 10 of them. So 10 of those senses, and through those 5 senses, sense perception, we see 5 things, like from nose we smell, from tongue we taste, from eyes we see, from skin we touch things, and from ear we hear. So those 5 elements, through these 5 senses we transact. So all total, if we add all these, it becomes 24. That's it. And Bhagavan, and this is like Sankhya. But in one shlok, Bhagavan has given the entire Sankhya. He said we are made of 24 elements, the kshetra, the field, which is the body. And it is true. Even Ayurveda accepts it, and medical science also accepts many ways. So that is a physiology. So Bhagavan says this is kshetra. And now the next shlok, Bhagavan 6 says, Ichha dvesham sukham dukkham Sanghat chetana dhratihi. Etat kshetram samasena savikaram udayatam. Bhagavan is saying that now kshetra, in the kshetra there is a man and buddhi also there. That is part of kshetra. The mind and intellect is also Bhagavan, according to our Shastra. That is also part of body, because that's also temporary. It goes with the body. When the body dies, the mind and buddhi is also gone. So that is also kshetra, field, or body, we can say, body, mind, intellect, sometimes say BA. So Bhagavan is saying, because this body, mind has desires and vasanas, because of the desires, it plays the game. And that we call it, the game is called vikar. Very popular shabd in Shastra, and we hear all the time vikar. Like we have Om Jai this Jagdishara Arti mein, Vishaya Vikar Mitao. There's a very powerful line. It's coming from the same Vishaya Vikar Mitao. Vishaya means all the sense objects. And because of sense objects, ideally I should be always happy, always like Ananda Swarup. But Vikar means deformation. A translation of English means car means the shape. When the shape is gone, is corruption. There are many translations: corruption, deformation, deviation from standard. That is vikar. In fact, some of the like holistic medicine vikar, the sickness is also vikar. वो बॉडी में वो आयुर्वेद में होलिस्टिक मेडिसिन जैसे उनके शरीर में विकार हो गया है, मीन्स देयर इज अ सिकनेस देयर, because ideally sharir should be healthy. That's a natural state. That's what we call term as swasth. Swasth means the original state, which is swasth. Swasth shabda hai, healthy. But when swasth, you're not swasth, means there is a vikar. So Bhagavan is saying here, what are the vikar of the body? This kshetra, ichha, the desire, dvesh, that dvesh means dislikes. I don't like this. I don't like this. The things are not good. Sukham dukkham. Sukh dukh both are vikar. I mean, because if sukh is there, then dukh will come also. So Bhagavan is saying all these things are vikar of this kshetra. Why Bhagavan said, and then further we don't have time to go to all those shlokas. But next few shlokas, Bhagavan has given the way to overcome those, and that is called sadhana. So we will have to skip a little bit. So Bhagavan is saying this vikar, you have to be careful. Kshetra is limited. Kshetra is impermanent. Kshetra has vikar. Vikar means that sickness, we can say, or the deviation from the standard. So be careful. And further few shlokas Bhagavan tell, how do you stop it? Simple answer is sadhana, swadhyaya, or whatever, adhyatmik, whatever we find. Because kshetra is otherwise going to drag you. And that's what we all know, that the body drags us in. So that's what we will stop. But the next question Arjun ask also, or not, the Bhagavan is going to tell. There is another principle in Sankhya, it's called Purush and Prakriti. And you must have heard, we heard this word many times, Purush and Prakriti. So Bhagavan is going to describe in few shlok Purush and Prakriti. So that starts from shlok 19. Kshetra Kshetragya and Purush and Prakriti. So 19th shlok Bhagavan described what is Purush and Prakriti. So he's saying Prakritim Purusham Cheva Vidyanadi Ubhavabi Vikaranshcha Gunashcheva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. He's saying that, and the next shlok also is continuing. So he says Prakriti and Purush. So there is a principle called cause and effect. Everything in this world, when you see something happen, oh, this has happened, oh, what was the reason for that? So there is a cause for everything. And the whole, that cause and effect principle, so Prakriti has taken, we call it Bhagwan ki Maya also, that term is used. The Prakriti has taken this form. So Prakriti is a cause, and the effect is what we see. Right? Prakriti is not one thing. Every world, like plant, animal, all of us are the effect. And Bhagavan says, but there is a Purush who because of that. So Purush is, Sankhya doesn't say Bhagavan, but here Bhagavan took that principle of Sankhya and is saying Bhagavan is that Purush. So Purush, word we use for us also, like the human being. I think that's what our rishis have got this word, because ideally we are that Purush, which is a reflection of Bhagwan, right? That we are not the body, we are that Atma, Paramatma's ansh or part. That's why they must use the word Purush. There is a definition of Purush. So Bhagwan is saying that Purush is the one who is the controller. Prakriti is what we see around. And that's why we have all the Kalpana, all Bhagwan, he is a Shiv, Vishnu Bhagwan, and Vishnu Bhagwan's Patni, Lakshmi ji, Mahamaya Lakshmi. And there we hold our Shastra and stories around that. That this is all created by Lakshmi ji. Bhagwan has created this world using his Maya Shakti. So that Maya Shakti is Prakriti and Bhagwan is Purush. It's like that. So that's what the whole shlok Bhagwan is like. So one shlok we'll read in the interest of time. So the shlok is 22, where is Bhagwan says, Upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwarah parmatmeti chapyukto dehe asmin purushah parah. So he's saying in this body, so this Purush, this again, Kshetra you can say Purush, Kshetra Purush are same thing. So that is like Upadrashta. That is the observer that sees everything happening in this body. In this body and related to this body. Anumanta, Anumanta which decides what is to be done. And Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. So our idea of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is something similar. They look after the world. Brahmaji create the world, Vishnuji make sure that it's sustained, and Shivji make sure that it is dissolved and recreated. And then word he has used Maheshwara. Brahma is Bhokta, Anumanta is Vishnuji. So they are the same thing. Is Bhagwan is saying that Purush is like that. It creates, it maintains, and whenever it is not required, it dissolves and recreate. And that's the whole our idea of principle of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. That's what he's saying in this shlok. That Purush, role of that Purush is this. But that Paramatma is a Purush. But in our body also, we are the person who is taking care of the body, who creates things for us, who maintains the body. And when it is not desired, not required, whatever is not required, just dissolve it, right? When it is not required. And we'll move to very quickly to the 15th chapter. But I'll tell you one example. In our Jain Parampara, there is a principle called, they call Santara or Sanlekhna. It means if when you become old or sick and you think that this body cannot sustain, they start fasting. It is still there. India still they do that, right? And after 30 days or 60 days of fasting, the body goes. And the person is aware that I'm leaving. In fact, Vinoba Bhave did the same thing. Vinoba Bhave took, when he became sick and the doctor started giving medicine, he said, no more medicine. I had to go now. So he took the fast and like he was 15 days and everybody, and he said, I'm going. Don't worry. In ashram, he said, no morning, nothing, everything should continue bhajan. Vinoba is not going anywhere because Vinobaji knows that Vinoba's Atma is not going anywhere. Vinobaji was like, he was one of the, we can say, the best practitioner of Bhagavad Gita. He said, body is going. Body's job is over. It's like 82, 88-year-old, job is done. Let the body go. Not only the Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji, who was with Ashvidya Gurukulam, he decided when he was sick, and some of us know him, right? He said, I'm going. So he told that take me to Rishikesh. And when people took him to Rishikesh, in fact, Narendra Modi ji came to Rishikesh Ashram, told that Swamiji, we need you. Why are you leaving? He said, no, it's done. And then he left the body. So that is, see, look at that. When it is not required, see, that's what Maheshwara means, Bhagwan, Shiv, what he does. He realized that this world is not required, do the pralay, recreate it. So same thing, our body is not going anywhere. Based on whatever principle of karma or vasana, it will come back again. And that the question Arjun asked in one of the chapters, that Bhagwan, what happens to a devotee who for some reason he or she is not able to complete the sadhana? Suppose early death or something happened. What happens to that person? And the answer Bhagwan is given one of the shlok. Shuchinam gehe abhijayate. That person will be born in a conducive environment to continue the sadhana. This is the answer given in Bhagavad Gita. So we should not worry about the body is going. That's what the whole message here. So that's what Kshetrajna. and Purush Prakriti. So there is a whole chapter we can read. I mean, same thing Bhagavan has told repeatedly, but that's the essence of that. So with that, we'll move to 15th chapter, because 14th we already did. 14th chapter was Gunatraya Vibhag. We saw that Tamogun, Rajogun, and Sattvagun. And the answer, 14th chapter, when Arjun asked that, what will happen after Sattvagun? And Bhagavan says, Gunatit Bhava Arjun. Means you have to transit the Sattvagun also, because Gun, by definition, Gun means Bandhan, the bondage. It's and the, by definition, Gun means a rope also, is it? So that's what they must have brought the term Gun means which binds. So even Sattvagun binds. And in the 14th chapter, we saw that there is a 2-3 slok when Bhagavan says, be careful. सत्वगुण ऑल्सो बाइंड्स बंधन ऐसा नहीं कि आप पूजा पाठ कर रहे हैं आप बहुत दान दक्षिणा कर रहे हैं तो आप वो भी बांध देता है एंड वी ऑल नो दैट राइट हाउ इट टाइज राइट so we all experience that. So Bhagavan is saying that Arjun, be careful. So Arjun asked what to do. He said just become gunatit. So with that he continued to 15. Therefore end of 14th chapter was Bhagavan says gunatit bhava Arjun. The one who becomes gunatit, he or she reaches me. Reaches me, again, anytime we hear that Bhagavan says reaches me, there is nothing to go. That the language we have to use, our Shastra use, there is nothing, you don't reach anywhere. Reaches means you realize basically. See, Anubhuti, it is not a yatra. We have to use the word Adhyatmik yatra, but actually it is Anubhuti. We come to know within ourselves. We don't have to go anywhere. It's like, so there was a doll made of salt. So salt of doll, she went to Guru and she said that, I'm made of what? And Guru says, you are made of salt. So she said, then where is the salt found? And he says, salt found is the ocean. So she says, I want to go, like, look at that. This is an analogy, story about Bhakt. Like suppose Bhakt wants to know Bhagwan, for example. So doll says, I want to know where I came from. It's from the ocean. So I want to go and see the ocean. He said, okay, go. So Saul went to the ocean and Saul jumped in the ocean to know what ocean is. And then Saul doll dissolved in the ocean. Salt becomes salt. So it is like that. So that's what, so Gunatit means not going anywhere. You will realize Bhagwan is right. So Bhagwan is not nowhere else. So we become one with Bhagwan. That's right. So salt doll become part of Samudra. It's lost. So not lost, but actually is Anubhuti Adhyatmik. It becomes one. Yukta Buddhi. So with that, 15th chapter, very famous chapter, very known. A lot of people have memorized this. And this is again, this chapter is also read when somebody dies at home. So 11 to 30 of second chapter shlok and 15th chapter is read whenever there is a death at home, because this chapter again, Bhagwan is describing the relationship between Bhagwan and Bhakt. And it gives like peace of mind, it gives solace. So we'll read few shlok, whatever time we have. So this is called Purushottam Yoga, very famous shlok chapter. A lot of people have memorized this in 20 shlok only. And this is called Purushottam. And why Bhagwan is saying, because in the 14th chapter, Bhagwan already told that when you become Gunatit, when you are above Tamogun, Rajogun, and Sattvagun, you beyond in the sense, guns are not going away. We need to have Tamogun to sleep. We need to have Tamogun to do some activities. We need to have Rajogun to act. We need to have Sattvagun to like feel good. But we should have the control over that. I observe those gun. The gun don't drive me. I drive the gun. That is gunatit. I mean, it's not, the gun will not go away because it's a prakriti we are made of. Prakriti and prakriti, gun are part of prakriti. So they are not going away, but I am not handled by gun. I take care of the gun. It's like that. I want to sleep, I'll sleep. It's not that sleep will take me. It's like that. So simple is that. So that's what Bhagwan is saying. When this happens, you become one with me. And then Bhagwan realizes, Arjun never asked what is Purushottam. I think Bhagwan is realizes Arjun's consciousness has reached to a stage and we are lucky that he told, so it's helping us also. So at this stage, when there is a sattva guna is at the peak, and then you are gunatit, basically becoming gunatit. That time, what is Bhagwan Purushottam? That's what this 15th chapter is about. So his name is uh, Purushottam Yoga. So at panchodasho adhyayah. So Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, it starts with Bhagwan. Bhagwan is Arjun. Arjun didn't ask, Bhagwan is answering. Very, very powerful. This chapter is, let's not get too like intimidated by some philosophers have described this chapter very deeply. You will see that shlok, right? Urdhumulam adham shakha ashwattham prahur avyayam chandasi yasya parnani yastam veda savedvit. Bhagwan says this sansar, now it's a very good metaphor. It's a very famous metaphor. You may hear it many times. People have given long commentary on this. And Bhagwan is saying this sansar is like a inverted tree. And if you do a search on 15th chapter in Google, there you will find a tree created. So Bhagwan is saying this sansar is like an inverted tree which has root upstairs up, and the tree is down. So you can see the picture if you search Google, or some books have picture also. So here are the roots, and the tree with all the branches is coming down. Exactly he's describing here. So Bhagwan is saying Urdhva Moolam Adham. Urdhva Moolam is the tree, the roots are up and the branches are down. And Chandasi Yasya Paranani Yasya. And there are two shlokas. Second also I'll read, and then we'll go into the description. And the second shlok is Adhacha Urdham Prasatasya Chakha Guna Pravadha Vishay Pravala. Second shlok. Adhasya Mulani Anusantatani Karmanubandhini Manushya Loke. So Bhagwan is saying this. Now we can just imagine, right? There are a lot of discussion, but let's not get into too many of those details. It's very simple in a way. There cannot be a tree like this that root up. So basically what Bhagwan is saying, the root is Bhagwan. And that the whole tree of this sansar. And same again. So this is coming from that continuation of Prakriti and Purush. Purush means Bhagwan, right? And Bhagwan says also in previous 10th chapter that I am the seed of everything, and this whole thing is created from that one seed. So root means root coming out of seed, and then there's the root and then tree. So imagine that's what Bhagwan is saying, the seed is upstairs. So Bhagwan is the seed, Paramatma. That's why it is Bhagwan has said inverted tree, because otherwise when the ground tree you cannot see the roots, but here we see, okay, here is the Paramatma. And that's why we see that people whenever see Bhagwan, you look, everybody in this world look up, right? Our players we see the sports, then they make some good progress, they look up. So there is someone upar. So that's what I want to say, Urdhva Moolam, that the seed is or root is up, and all the branches, and that second shlok he describes also, the branches are driven by the sap of guna. The word he has used, I'm not reading every word. So gun means again trigun. So the branches are nothing but branches, and the leaves are desires. And the one branch, second branch, third branch, and keep extending. So the message Bhagavan giving here is that this is a sansar tree. Of course, I am the origin, but the desires are your own. And there is a whole description if you read. So, and the desire make you to do karma, which is kind of the leaves and the further roots. There are, and this given example is people tree. Ashwat tree means people, and people tree there are roots coming from the stem and then goes down, and there are multiple roots in the one tree, and then multiple branches. It becomes huge. There's a banyan tree is also the same family. It becomes huge. Sometimes stem become roots. So roots within roots, branches within. It's a huge tree, and that's the reason Bhagavan is saying this sansar is like that. So people get into the tree business, and there are a lot of commentary and discussion. That purpose is not Bhagavan's to get into the botany and zoology of the tree. What he is saying, the sansar is like that. if you don't stop, this keep expanding, the one branch, second branch, and then there will be a root again, and you are entangled. So Bhagavan says, yes. So this is like sansara is like this. Your desires becomes another branch, then another branch, and then the fruits will come, then again the tree. So Bhagavan says it's never ending. Avyayam. And there is a word used. So what to do? Third shloka Bhagavan says, right? न रूपम अस्येह तपो लभ्यते नान्तो न चार्दिन च संप्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरीडमूलम असंग शस्त्रेण दृढ़ेन चित्वा. So Bhagavan is saying, now this is a message for all of us. This is a very, very popular shloka. But the tree was not that important. Only thing we need to know that there is a tree. If you don't watch, it keeps growing. So the message Bhagavan says that you be careful. So now Bhagavan is saying that Ashwattham mena suviruda moolam. Its roots are very strong. So only thing what Arjun you can do is cut the tree, not from the root, because ultimate goal is to go to the root, Bhagavan. But the tree is expanding, the desires, then vasanas, and all those things. So asanga shastrena dhrane. Shastra means the weapon. What kind of weapon? Asanga shastrena. Asanga means detachment. In simple terms, if we say detachment means in our Adhyatma, Vairagya. And we saw in the 6th chapter, Arjuna asked this question that I understood Bhagavan was teaching him Dhyan Yoga, Abhyas, Indriya Nigra. Arjun said, I understand that, but Chanchal hi mana Krishna, Vayu iv sudushkaram. Now the man is so chanchal, Krishna, I cannot control this. It's like a Vayu. Like Vayu, we cannot control. Vayu has its own speed, and so I cannot control my mind. Arjuna is saying, the one who was known for the concentration and focus, one of the best archers, he's saying, Man I cannot control. I can shoot the arrow. But look at what Man. And the same thing Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is saying this tree is part of that Man. So Bhagavan is saying the only Shastra which you can use is Asanga Shastrena, Vairagya. And there also Bhagavan says, Abhyasen tu Vairagyan. One can be controlled, one is sansar. Can be controlled by Abhyas and Vairagya. Same thing he is saying again here. Asanga Shastra, Vairagya Rupi Shastra. Means the weapon which is called Vairagya. Now, somebody will ask Vairagya, there are a lot of definitions, but simple terms, Vairagya is nothing but an agitated mind is Rag. Agitated mind, desirous mind, mind full of vasanas, desire is Rag. Rag means attachment, right? When those things are gone, it becomes Vairagya. Not Vairagya means somebody taking a sannyas and sitting in Himalaya. That is also Vairagya. But Vairagya can be anywhere. So Bhagavan is saying that is hold tight. Dradena Shit. I mean, you have to hold that weapon tight and cut this tree of sansar. And then only you will get the peace. Then only you can reach to the root. Otherwise, this tree, the farther we know that in the zoology also, farther if the leaves, they don't get the feed because they're farther from the root. And that's why, so if suppose we have desire, this thing, that thing, and then there are thousands of branches. Some branches even don't get the sap, don't get the feed. So our root is Bhagwan. The divinity is farther from us. That's the message here. So Bhagwan says, cut it, make the tree shorter, and then you can enjoy. But the weapon is Vairagya. And yeah, as I was saying, Vairagya, in simple terms, if you look at in a psychological definition, all the agitations or stress is because either I am in future or the past. Past gives me stress, future gives me anxiety. It's very simple. It's all psychology, right? But that's why they say that stay in present. Only in the present there is a Shanti. In the past there is no Shanti because there is a stress. Something went wrong and I should not have done this and all. Or future which has not come yet, anxiety because uncertainty. So the presence is only Shanti. That's why the whole teaching is that stay in That's why when we do dhyan, the purpose of dhyan is to stop future and past. So actually vairag is nothing but staying in the present. That's simple. If I am staying in the present, that is vairag. And this we can all practically do in our life, day to day life. During the day, whenever I am we practice dhyan or do sandhya vandana or puja chobi, whatever we do. If I am in that present, that divine moment, we all get that glimpse. That is vairag. Vairag is not like running away. That's what people do. When they go to Himalaya, what they're doing? They are staying in the present. That's vairag. So Bhagavan says the only way to cut this sansar tree is vairag. That's what Bhagavan says. So anyway, so we'll move some more shlok here. And then Bhagavan says the quality of that person who has vairag is fifth shlok. Nirmana moha jitasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritti kamaha. Fifth shlok. Dvandir vimukta sukadukha sangye gacchante muda padam avavyam. Padam avavyam tat. So Bhagavan is saying there are a lot of qualities. So one of the quality of that vairagi, the shastra, is nirmana moha jitasanga dosha. This person doesn't have man. Man means we call it abhiman, also the ego. Nirmana moha. There is no moh. There is no that attachment to this person. Like moh is attachment, grabbing things, right? And jit sanga dosha. Again, sang. Sang means same thing, attachment. And he or she has jit means the victory. Sang dosh. They are saying Bhagavan is saying attachment is a dosh, is a deficiency, is a kind of a sickness we call virag. Sorry, that vikar. So Bhagavan Jit Sangha, this person has won over that Jit Sangha, Sang dosh. Sang ko dosh bula rahe, what? Anyway, there are a lot of descriptions. So we'll move forward, and there are a few shlok. So Bhagavan is describing about this called Purushottam Yoga, about himself. He has done it many times, but in this chapter it is called Purushottam. So I'll skip few shlok. Let me go to. Okay, so there is a famous shlok number 14, which we use many times as a bhojan mantra. You must have heard the shlok number 40. Aham, Bhagavan saying, who am I? That the Purushottam Bhagavan. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehimashritah Pranapana Samayuktah Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. So Bhagavan is saying that Paramatma, what is the role of Paramatma? This shlok is used as a bhojan mantra also many times. We use in many places we use this as a bhojan mantra. Sometimes we say Brahmarpanam also, that is from Bhagavad Gita too. That is from the 4th chapter. But ideally this should be the bhojan mantra. And Bhagavan says what this Paramatma does. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva. I am sitting in everyone's like stomach or tummy as a Vishwanar Agni and to digest the food. So that's why we say this mantra before Bhojan, that Bhagwan is sitting inside me and helping me to digest the food. So Bhagwan is saying, I'm not just only the who is responsible for creating this or making this world appear. I maintain also. So Bhagwan is saying, prana pana samayukta. Through prana, and that's what we say, bhojan, whenever you have the normal breathing, you can eat, digest the bhojan. And pacham minnam chaturvidham. There are 5 types of food we know, right? The food, we can lick food, we can sip food, we can chew, like that. There are 5 types. And Bhagavan says all those 4 types, chaturvidham, all 4 those I digest. So I am sitting inside you as a Vaishwanar Agni, we call it, or fire, right? Digestive fire. So there is one more shloka there. Okay. Similar. But anyway, so I'll skip few shlokas. So Bhagavan is saying that is the role of that Bhagavan which is called Purushottam. And then shlok number 18, where Bhagavan is saying, I'll skip some, yeah. So 18 shlok Bhagavan is saying, yes, yasmaksharam atitah aham aksharat api cha uttamah atah asmin loke vede chaya pratitah purushottamah. So Bhagavan is saying, because I am sitting in everyone, And so there are two things, right? Kshar means same thing. Kshetra, kshar, kind of same root word. Kshar means which decays. So body is kshar. And the akshar means which doesn't decay. Like the jivatma, we call it in us. That that doesn't go, like decay. That continues. That's why we say there's a rebirth happens. If you remember second chapter, there is a shlok. The jivatma takes the next body. Jivatma means which has vasanas. If all the vasanas are jivan mukt, then we are not born, then moksha happens. But as long as we have these vasanas accumulated, and we have the whole principle of prarabdha, right? Sanchit karma, agami karma, and kriman karma. So as long as you have that karmic cycle, you are born. So born means that jivatma is born because it carries those karmic cycle or karmic principle, right? Based on that. But Jivan Mukh doesn't buy. But Bhagavan says body dies. So body kshar and that Jivatma is akshar, which doesn't die, but it takes. And Bhagavan says there is one third power which is beyond these two, and that is me. So the Jivatma is Purush, and the higher than Purush, superior than Purush is Uttam, Purush Uttam. That is Purushottam. That's what Bhagavan said. That's what I am. I am is not, he's Krishna Bhagavan. Bhagavan in general, Bhagavan already said that in the 10th, 12th chapter that I can be Sakar also, I can be Nirakar also. Both are valid. It's not that you only have Sakar Bhagavan. People Nirakar Bhagavan ki bhakti bhi karte hain. Like our Sikh parampara, there is Nirakar bhakti, so which is fine too. But there is Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is saying that Nirakar or Sakar doesn't matter, which is Uttam then Purush. That is me. That's why this chapter is called Purushottam. He says that I am that Purushottam. So I think Bhagavan has described. So this chapter is called Purushottam. That's the reason. So we'll just read it's almost end of 15th chapter also. So 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetragya. Kshetra is the body. Kshetragya is the consciousness principle, which we call it sometimes Jivatma also, but it is a reflected consciousness. It is not its original consciousness. It's coming from Bhagavan. And then at the end, Bhagavan says, the one who knows every chapter. There's no chapter, Bhagavan said. Bhagavan and Arjun were talking, it was not chapter. Arjun is asking, Bhagavan is answering. But every time he concludes something, here also he says, if you know this Buddhva, and he has used many times Gyatva, Buddhva, Tattvataha, that means knowing the essence. And as I said, the sweet is nothing but sweetness. We have given the form in Gulab Jamun, Rasgulla, but it is all sweetness. Same thing, Bhagavan says, if you know me, that the essence, that you know the sweetness, the tattvata, then the last slok says, kratakratya syat. That means you have fulfilled your life. Kratakratya means, there is a word called kratartha, means fulfilled. Fulfill your life. What is the purpose of life? To have that, be Ananda, be always Satchidananda. Right? So that's what the teaching, like 13th chapter to 15th chapter, in between 14th was there, which we did earlier. So there is a Kshetra body, there is a Kshetra consciousness principle, there are three gun. Based on three gun, this whole body, mind, complex, this works. And on top of that, there is Bhagavan, which is Purushottam. That's what 15th chapter. So next time we'll go 16th and 17th, that there are Bhagavan is going to talk of the qualities. But I'll stop here. There is and what Bhagavan when say Kratakratya means your life will be fulfilled. So there is a old movie called Guide. If you have not seen them, please, you can see Devanand's, like 1960s. It was almost to be nominated for Oscar also. So the movie is wonderful theme around that movie. If you have not watched the movie, wonderful movie. At the end, exactly what this movie ends like this. So there is a dialogue which is one of my favorite. I'll say that and then we'll stop here. And I will translate in English if something. So at the end, he's saying, if you watch the movie, last scene of the movie, that Devanand, he realizes, Kshetra Kshetra. If you watch that movie now, you will see this principle. He's talking to his own like image as a Kshetra Kshetra. And the Kshetra one is saying the body is dying, right? A very, very wonderful scene. You can watch that movie. And he says, आज मैं कितनी आजादी महसूस कर रहा हूँ. He's saying to another Devanand, right? लगता है आज हर इच्छा पूरी होगी, मगर मजा भी देखो आज कोई इच्छा ही नहीं रही। नाउ वंस यू रियलाइज देयर इज नथिंग, देयर इज नो इच्छा, राइट? लगता है आज इच्छा पूरी, मगर मजा भी देखो आज कोई इच्छा ही नहीं रही। जिंदगी बिखर कर प्रकाश बन गई है, सच्चाई मेरा रूप है। तन रहे ना रहे मैं रहूंगा, मैं आत्मा हूँ, मैं अमर हूँ। मौत एक ख्याल है जैसे जिंदगी एक ख्याल है। न सुख है, न दुख है, न दिन है, न रात है। मैं, सिर्फ मैं हूँ, मैं मीन्स दैट परमात्मा, ही इज सेइंग दैट क्षेत्रज्ञ। एंड वो मूवी एंड्स देयर, वंडरफुल। आप देखिएगा कभी तो नाउ यू विल सी दैट व्हाट क्षेत्रज्ञ इज। एंड probably I'm got they got the theme from, and some places Devanand quoted also in one of the interviews that what Bhagavad Gita says is very true. Somebody asked about that guide movie, he says that, right? I'm sure they must have gone through this. So this is what the whole, so far the teaching is up to 15th chapter. It's all about, we started from second chapter, it was Deha means body, and then Bhagwan talked about himself, then sadhana, then kshetra repeated the same thing. 14th chapter he told about the gun, be careful, they bind, they are like rope, be careful with sattva gun also. And then 15th chapter he says, if you want to enjoy that, transcend the gun and go to the Purushottam. You are kshetragya already, like the next stage has reached, right? You're not kshetra, you're kshetragya. Next is Purushottam. And then that's why this chapter of Purushottam Yoga, very nice. We can, uh, when we end this, just close your eyes and say that prayer. Karpanya dosha upahat svabhava prachhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. We can see that Bhagavan is standing in front of us as a Purushottam and ready to help us to continue our sadhana. So next week we'll go over 16th and 17th chapter. Wonderful, like there Bhagavan is going to describe the qualities of a sadhak, or the divine. We call it Dev Asur Saptati Vibhag Yoga and Shraddha Tray. 3 types of Shraddha. So next week we'll see 16th and 17th chapter. With that we'll close here. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Boli Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Hari Om. Jai Shri Krishna.
धन्यवाद.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll meet next week then, right? Yeah.
आनंद हो गया.
Yeah. Hari Om.
नमस्कार.
Namaste.